My name is Bill Rawlins, and I live in Neuse Bay, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island. It started for me in 2004. I was principal of the high school in Parksville, and my counseling staff came to me and said they'd run across a group that had touring teams that brought presentations to students, basically looking at student issues like peer pressure, bullying, STDs, addictions, those sorts of things. And they put on the presentation, and it was a great presentation. And embedded in that last 15 minutes of the presentation was the 8-minute nugget about the first trip ever, they called it a hero holiday in those days, to the Dominican Republic in July of 2005. And of those 1,100 kids, wouldn't you know it, my daughter was the only one that responded. She was a 16-year-old grade 11 student. And they had 120 kids from across Canada who signed up. And they needed team leaders. And they felt that somebody who'd been working with kids might qualify as being a reasonable team leader. And the project, we didn't know when we walked into it, was digging a water line from a natural spring on the hillside. Some of the kids were dying from the parasites in the water they were drinking. And so the challenge was to build this water line. After 6 or 7 days of digging through topsoil and heavy clay, we managed to get it to the top of the village, and that was the beginning of it for us. The second year, when Red and I came back, we came into an area where there were almost like horse stalls. There were cement concrete bunkers, and people were living in these little narrow concrete bunkers, dank, smelly, just unbelievable conditions. We got to the second to the last one. This is the point that turned me around in terms of what I wanted to do the rest of my life. There was a lady sitting there with a little fire, a little cooking fire, and there were two little kids, naked as the day they were born, swollen tummies, orange-colored hair, obviously severely malnourished, and she was cooking lunch. And in her fry pan for lunch, for the three of them, were 2 fish heads. And I was done. I was absolutely done. I looked at Loren, she looked at me, and we both again, tears. I said, this is not right, sweetie, it's not right. She said, Daddy, it is not, what do we do to change this? How can we change this? And that was the beginning of my really getting up my different passion. And I brought that passion into Rotary and shared that story with them. Rotary, by mandate, is required to look at some kind of international project and a community project every year, and to fundraise and finance that. And said, well, this is what we're doing. We're doing this with LiveDifferent. Why don't we look at maybe doing something like that with our Rotary Club? Well, that's what our club has been working on now for the past 8 years, and we've built. Now this is our 5th house finished. We've done a kindergarten. We built a tech lab here, the tech shop here. Built the adult education center over in Las Habas here. A classroom at the high school. And then the last one, in 2018, we did the Brigade 54 Adult Education Center. I started the Interact Club at my high school in 2015, long after I retired. But we wanted to be able to extend Rotary's impact in the community. And Interact is simply it's a Rotary Club for students who are 12 to 18 years old. And for them, it opens their perspective because they know they've been very fortunate to win the first lottery living in Canada. Always for me, the highlight is to see how kids mainly, but also adults, to see how their efforts impact the lives of others. And so that's the real highlight for me every time is to watch kids cry and watch adults cry when they hand the keys over or the keys are open in the door. It's very rewarding to see that that we really have made a difference, that lives have been impacted, and that the idea that the change heart can change the world, it's absolutely true.